You're very welcome back. Now, a new report suggests that we could see up to 22.5% of students exempt from studying Irish. So almost a quarter of Irish students exempt from studying Irish by 2030. So it opens up the questions. Should we be rethinking how the subject is taught altogether?
Ag Jacqueline can play a dhéanamh tá údar na tuarascála Pádraig Ó Duibhir from DCU, professor who is the author of the report, Pádraig. We also have Rosie Bissett, CEO of Dyslexia Ireland, and we are joined by Principal Kevin Shortall as well. Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Pádraig, first of all, tell us about this report.
Well, as many people are aware, there's a system in place in Irish schools where children can get an exemption from Irish if they have a specific learning difficulty or if they've come from abroad after the age of 12. And in 2019, following a public consultation, the Department of Education introduced a new system, and the numbers of students with exemptions has skyrocketed since then. So currently there's 14.3% of post-primary students, but 60,000 students exempted from studying Irish at second level. And I've looked at the rate of increase since 2019. So over the last 5 years, there's roughly been an increase of just under 5,000 every year extra on the previous year. And if that increase continues, by 2030, we'll have 22.5% of post-primary students exempted.
There's just news this morning, though, I think you've probably seen this in the papers, that literacy and numeracy in Ireland, under a new study since COVID, it's dropping drastically. It's something that we have seen throughout Europe, throughout the world, and indeed Scandinavian countries are trying to combat that because it drops so low that they're getting rid of screens in their schools. So is this a correlation between, like, can you correlate that this is kind of happening, going, everyone's going down, so just drop Irish if you can, give yourself a chance?
I'm not sure that that's the reason for it. I mean, I think I suppose there's lots of reasons really, in a way. But I suppose part of it, what I'm trying to raise in the report is looking at the practice in other countries when it comes to exemptions, looking at what the research says to us about students who have particular difficulties, maybe learning a second language, and also I raised the issue of is it good enough that students who come to Ireland after the age of 12, that we don't give them the opportunity to learn Irish and we don't encourage them to learn Irish, because many of those people, as we see now, they're becoming part of Irish society. They're taking out citizenship in Ireland, and they haven't had the opportunity to get an insight into an important part of our culture and heritage.
Absolutely. There's raised a lot of questions about how Irish is taught, though, as well in schools. Rose, from your point of view, like there is strict criteria for exemptions, and in terms of blaming people for getting the exemptions, maybe we should look at different ways of teaching people who might be new to the country.
Absolutely. And I think, yeah, look, it's incredibly unfortunate that I think young people who have, significant learning difficulties with exemptions are kind of sort of seen as the big problem for Irish, and they're not. I think part of the issue is that Irish exemption is kind of the only alternative within the language learning space for young people. The department has very strict criteria about it, but the department also itself recognises that there are real issues around how Irish is taught. We are not teaching young people the code in Irish, phonics in Irish, in the vast majority of schools. Any parent who has a young person in school will be familiar with, in English, jolly phonics, U-fly, things like this, and we're not doing that in Irish.
It's totally crazy to me learning this new way of learning, but the kids pick it up unbelievably quick.
The science absolutely backs it, you know what I mean? It's incredibly effective, and it's an approach that you need to use with written language in all languages. So certainly we would like to see, and the department does have 2 new action plans on the teaching of Irish, one of which is around obviously supporting teachers to upskill as well, making more resources around bringing in that phonics sort of based structured literacy approach, things like access to special education teaching for Irish. So if the mainstream approach, like with English or maths, if you're struggling in mainstream, that you would have the opportunity to get some additional support in Irish, but also that exemptions exist. Because I think exemptions are important, and they are based on, they're a reasonable accommodation under equality legislation for what is recognised in our modern understanding of dyslexia. Learning additional languages is a core challenge for people with dyslexia and other learning difficulties.
But do you think some people are taking, like, some people are kind of like, you know, kind of using it as a way that, because we're seeing people having an issue with Irish, Kevin, kind of going, I'm getting an exemption, but they are doing another language.
Of course, yeah.
Like that is happening in school.
In that report, there's thousands
Yeah.
of people who are doing a language not doing Irish. Now, distinctions have been made that it's sometimes easier to learn one type of a language, depending on where it comes from in the world than another. I won't get into that, but if somebody has dyscalculia, do they get an exemption from maths? No, we find a different way to teach it. If a parent will ring me up and say, I don't want my daughter to do PE, well, I'll say, she must, it's part of our wellbeing programme. We'll find a programme that suits her. So we're handing out these exemptions, and what it's teaching us is that Irish is a problem, and you have a problem, and that's too hard for you. And therein is a symptom of our attitude towards Irish over the years in the country. We have hundreds of students who came to our school from all over the world, spoke Middle Eastern languages, Ukrainian, African languages, not a word of English, and they're all fluent in English now. Yeah. So it's absolutely possible for anyone with any level of ability to learn a language. But the problem is the way we've designed our curriculum and the attitudes we've built up about it over the last 50 years. That's where it comes from.
Should have made a bigger concentration be put on the oral side of it, actually being able to hold a conversation, as opposed to learning to read and write it, which, you know, for only a certain demographic of people it'll really affect, but actually to have a conversation would be really important.
Yeah, so that would be, I suppose, what I would be suggesting is that in an inclusive approach to education, we look at what are the strengths of the child. So if someone has dyslexia, my own daughter has dyslexia, has gone through the school system, so I understand it from a parent's perspective. So I would have, you know, looked at her. What are her strengths? How can she get access to learning other languages if she's not going to be able to study and read and learn vocabulary kind of lists and off and so on. So and in primary school, there's absolutely no reason why that can't be done. The main emphasis on Irish in primary school is on oral and you know, speaking and listening. There is some literature, but what happens in other countries is that typically students have maybe temporary exemptions or partial exemptions, whereas in Ireland, part of my problem is that we have a permanent exemption. So a child gets an exemption 4th class. That's it, end of learning Irish. And as I show in the report, just over half of students who have an exemption, even though they have a learning difficulty, they're studying French, German, Spanish or Italian at post-primary. And I welcome that because it strengthens my argument that just because you have a learning difficulty doesn't mean you can't learn another language, provided it's taught in the right way and that you get the support that Rosie suggests.
And we know that from research that was done just in December gone, Amoric research, that, you know, about 1.8 million people now say globally that they can speak some form of Gaeilge, and that I think it is 73% of under 35s want to improve their Gaeilge, and we're talking about the cultural revolution with the likes of Kneecap and Colleen Kuhn and what that does. But are we overplaying our hand? Because, like, Pádraig, culturally, the language was bred out of us. To be like, it was, and it was a bad thing, and you know, we still have a lot of hang-ups about that.
Well, that's part of the post-colonial condition, as it were. But that doesn't mean, you know, we can lie down and say, oh, our language is gone. Yeah. So then the colonisers have succeeded completely. But you have to instill that love again. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely, and I think that's what the likes of Kneecap are bringing forward. Is say, hang on a second, you know, efforts were made to put Irish down. We're not going to accept that. We're going to go out there and do our thing through Irish. And there's lots of young people, I think, who identify with that. And you know, for example, organisations and different bodies that provide Irish language classes for adults can't keep up with the demand. They can't get enough Irish teachers for adults because people want to revisit it. And I think that's another important point about exemptions. Exemptions kind of are to do with the school system. But, you know, our lives are a lot longer than school, and what seems really important at 15, 16 are not important at 15, 16. I hate this thing. At 25, 26, 27, people. But I think it's
Sydney because we learn a lot more about our Irish history and culture and why we weren't allowed to speak Irish when we get older, and probably in school they're not taught that as much. Do you think it disconnects us from our Irish identity by not? having Irish?
I would be slow to go there, to be honest, because I think that's quite disrespectful to individuals. I think there's many people in our country, including over huge amounts of us who went through the education system and did Irish up to Leaving Cert, who, as you said yourself, Tommy, not very fluent in Irish. Neither am I at this point, despite getting a good grade in honours Leaving Cert Irish. So I think it's quite disrespectful to say that we are somehow less Irish because we don't speak Irish. Yes, we should value the language, but I think sometimes it's, I think it's maybe some more choice in how we engage with the language, and perhaps having different strands, you know, where there's a programme where you can have at a lower level, where it's perhaps not a compulsory subjects at senior cycle, you can still have some level of engagement with the language, with the culture, with that understanding. And then those who have talent and aptitude for languages who want to do it at that higher level, you know. There's already been a call from, I know from some of the Gaeilge Scoilina around, you know, that kids who come from Gaeilge Scoilina would like and almost to be able to do a higher level of Irish as opposed to kids who come from English medium schools. So perhaps it's about finding levels that can accommodate different levels of need. I think anything where we're mandating, if we're mandating and saying you must, that often will not generate a love of something.
I think anyone who's heading away on holidays, every single time you go away and you're in Spain, or you're in Italy, or you're in Germany, and there's everyone speaking 3, 4, 5 languages, you get, I feel a sense of shame, to be perfectly frank, that I haven't put more effort in, and that I'm like, well, I speak English and everyone else. You know, it just feels really superior. Kevin, we've talked about changing how we teach the Irish language for a long time. Like, we're talking decades now. And they've tried. You know, there's no longer being forced to do the overhead projector and learn off a whole story and repeat it back verbatim, even though you don't understand one thing. Like, I remember, it was brutal. Is it getting better? Is anyone listening? Because you're talking about conversation or making it a part of everyday life.
We've spoken here about the good and the bad of the education system lots of times on this couch. The reason why we have exemptions also has to do with the compulsory nature of Irish and the one-track system.
Yeah.
It also has to do with college progression. But I think the problem comes down to the fact that in how useful we see things, and we divide things in school depending on how useful they are. So why are we doing this? This is a dead language. Why are we doing this? We don't need this for a job and so on. And so it's all, isn't it? It's all framed around. So here's the conversation between the consultant who does the report and said, look, your child has a diagnosis of whatever. They'll get an Irish exemption for that. And the parent says, oh, will that affect their education? Not at all. Sure, they won't use it. Now, if that was, again, as I said about maths, they'll get an exemption for maths. Will that affect their education? Well, they're not going to say, well, they won't need maths. So we really need to reframe what education's about and put value on things. Because with AI and with everything coming now, it's easy to learn any language or to translate. It's easy to find information. So the education system has to become far richer in terms of things that are worthwhile, that add to us. And Irish will do that. Nothing wrong with an exemption. Nothing wrong with anything we're talking about. But it's about revaluing and reappreciating what's important in education.
Pádraig is nodding his head and he's like, please, can we please think about it a different way?
We didn't have an argument.
We didn't have an argument. Tommy's mad for an argument.
No need for an argument. No, it's great, but it's good balanced opinions as well, and I think definitely change is always needed, but in the right way.
Well, we'd love to hear from you. 0896 111 111. Irish teacher, you've got a kid going through school, you are someone yourself who's learning Irish right now.
Or you don't.
Be fantastic.
And you see it as a dead language, you're like, this is a waste of time. There's people who have those thoughts out there.
Kevin Shortall, principal from St. Aidan's in CBS, Pádraig Ó Duibhir, a professor and author of this report, and Rosie Bissett, CEO of Dyslexia Ireland. Thank you all.
I will say I am trying Duolingo. Like, I am trying, but it's flipping hard.
It's a minute, little birdie.